Can Nessa beat Leon and become the champion of the Galar region? Well, let's analyze the situation and let's see if she can do it. Okay, for those who are wondering and need context, Champion Leon is the champion of Galar, and Nessa is a water-type gym leader from the Galar region. She's the second gym leader you face. You also face her in the Champions Cup, which is the championship league where you battle through a tournament to fight Leon. And because this is video game only, we're probably going to have to go by video game logic. Well, at least by their teams anyway. Leon does appear in the anime, but he pretty much uses sort of similarly the same teams that he uses in the games, outside of a few exceptions. So, in this analyzing video, if we can see if Nessa can win or not, we're going to have to analyze the situation, her team, Leon's team, what team he would use, because he has 3 different teams, depending on the starter choice of your main character, and also if she can, in theory, win the match. So, let's begin and let's take a look. Okay, so this is Nessa's team in Sword and Shield by the time you get to meet her in the Champions Cup. She'll have a Golisopod, a Palipur, a Barraskewda, Seaking, and Dreadnought. Now, Barraskewda, Seaking, and Dreadnought are the 3 Pokemon you meet her with when she's in the gym. So basically, she's evolved them at this point. So, and these other 2, she must have added later on to her team. Now, when it comes to Leon, he will have a team of 6 Pokemon, regarding of 3 different teams. So he will have 6 Pokemon. Nessa only has 5, so therefore, she's going to have to add an extra Pokemon to her team. I'm going to give her a Milotic because I feel like it is stupid that they did not give her one. So for the sake of this analyzing video and discussion, we're going to give her a Milotic to see if she can actually win. Because I think it would make it fair if it's 6-on-6 instead of 5-on-6. So next, we're going to talk about Leon and what kind of team he would use. He has 3 different teams depending on the starter choice of your main character. But because our main character will not exist in this timeline, we're going to have to come up with something different. So here's the thing. In the main anime, Pokemon Journeys, when Ash meets him in the Champions Cup, he will have all 3 starters. Rillaboom, Inteleon, and Cinderace. He will use all 3 of them. He will use all 3 of them in the main show. So we'll just say, for the sake of the argument, he will have all 3 in reserves. He'll have all 3 of them in his reserves, and he can rotate them around. So, because he'll be going up against Nessa, I can easily see him choosing Rillaboom as his counter to all of her water types. So, he would want to end it quickly by using a grass-type Pokemon. Also, when it comes to his team, he will always have these 3 following Pokemon in his 3 different teams: Aegislash, Dragapult, and Haxorus. He will always use these 3 plus his ace Charizard. So 4 of his 6 Pokemon are always guaranteed to be those. So Nessa can work around those. If she can keep Dreadnought alive long enough, then Dreadnought can technically one-shot Charizard with a powerful Rock-type move. Because Charizard, being a Fire and Flying type, is 4 times weaker against Rock-type Pokemon. So if Nessa can keep Dreadnought alive and save it for the final fight against Charizard, she can technically one-shot it. But also there's a problem, and I know a lot of people are going to be telling me, and I'm going to be saying it right now. Yes, Charizard does have a way to counter Nessa's plan, and the way he would counter this plan is with Solar Beam, because Charizard does have this move. So, Leon would obviously predict this is what Nessa would do. And so, because Dreadnought is a rock water type, grass is 4 times super effective against Dreadnought. So basically, Nessa would be risking it all. So would be risking it all for a 4 times super effective damage. Dreadnought's moveset is pretty big. It is pretty big, but at the same time, it only has 4 moves, which is to be fair, that is the exact same amount of moves that every Pokemon needs to have. And also, they're not very powerful, from Liquidation to Jaw Lock to Rock Tomb and Crunch. They're not exactly strong, but if it's in its Gigantamax, then obviously the Rock type move would be completely different, because when you Dynamax, the moves become something completely different. So when it comes to Nessa's Dreadnought, yeah, it does need a bit more power to it. And also, her Barraskewda has Ice Fang, which is a problem if she has to rely on it. I think for the sake of this video, she's going to have to give all her Water-type Pokemon Ice-type moves. Or maybe not all of them, but majority of them, even Milotic. She would have to give a lot of them Ice-type moves in case if Barraskewda isn't good enough or quick enough to take care of Dragapult and Haxorus. So she's going to have to work her way around. It. And depending on whatever other Pokemon Leon would have in his team, which the other rotations would be the following. Since we've already chosen Rillaboom as the starter that he would choose, that leaves out Inteleon and Incinerate. So they're eliminated from the team. So as of right now, he has 5 Pokemon. So he has 1 other Pokemon that he could choose left out of his rotations, which is Seismitoad, a Water Ground type Pokemon, Mr. Rime, an Ice and Psychic type, or Rhyperior, a Rock and Ground type. And I'm very confident he would not be foolish enough to use Rhyperior against Nessa. It would just be a guaranteed easy win. So that eliminates that. So I could see him possibly choosing from either Mr. Rime or Seismitoad. And I could honestly see him picking Seismitoad. Why? Because why would he pick Seismitoad? Well, I think it's because it would be a good way to counter her. It'd be a good way to counter her, and it would catch her off guard. And also, it could eliminate Dreadnought. And it can also eliminate Dreadnought from the field with Earthquake, if she decided to bring it in a bit earlier. But here's another thing. He can also use Mr. Rime, which Mr. Rime has Thunderbolt. So, using Thunderbolt, yes, this Pokemon can learn Thunderbolt, surprisingly. So, I could see him possibly wanting to have Thunderbolt on his team. And also, it also has Teeter Dance, Psychic, and Freeze Dry. So, he would probably want to confuse her Pokemon and then Thunderbolt them. And yeah, this would become a major problem for Pelipper since it's a flying water type. 4 times super effective against Electric. I don't think Pelipper will stand much of a chance. So the reason why I'm mentioning all of this is because I'm analyzing what Pokemon he would use against her. I'm not going to be particularly just be picking a team out of the 3 that you're going to be seeing on your screen. I think he would just pick out of the Pokemon that he would use against her, which obviously the first 3, like I said, will always be guaranteed, and the Charizard. So the only ones that would change is one of the Galar starters and one of his other reserves. So now that we've analyzed Leon, what could Nessa possibly do with the Pokemon she has, plus Milotic, since we've included that in her team? Well, with the team that she has, I don't think it's going to last really long. But there are ways to make her team better. There are ways that we can make her team better, but that would just require something that would just mean, like, if she was the main character. But, because the DLC exists, and she does appear in the DLC, I could see since she does technically appear in the DLC, you have to randomly find her around the area. You have to randomly find her in the Island of Armor DLC, which that's where she will spawn sometimes, which it's completely random. There are going to be some following situations that are going to have to happen here. There are following situations that are going to have to happen. She's going to have to go all the way out to the Island of Armor to possibly find some other water Pokemon that she could probably try to use. And also, there's a guy named Mustard there. There's a guy named Mustard there who runs sort of like a school. He sort of runs like a school there, and he will give out rewards to the player if the player completes any of his tasks. One of these tasks, he will give out one of the Kanto starters, which is Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle. Now, in theory, Nessa could just choose the Squirtle because she's a water type user, evolve it into Blastoise, and then give it its Gigantamax, and Gigantamax it with its Gigantamax with those Mega Mushrooms that you find around in the Island of Armor, and so then that way she has a good counter against Blastoise. She would have a good counter against Charizard, but here's the thing, we've kind of seen Blastoise versus Charizard done already several times. We've seen that happen with Ash versus Gary in the Johto series, which is Master Quest, and Ash's Charizard won. And in Pokemon Origins, Red and Blue fight each other with a Charizard and Blastoise, and Red wins with his Charizard. So we've kind of seen this done already. So having Nessa and Leon just do something that we've probably already seen several times already, well, it would be fun, but we've seen it before. So it wouldn't necessarily make all that much sense. And also Nessa, in theory, can also get Kubfu, the legendary Pokemon. Now, Kubfu is a legendary Pokemon exclusive to the Island of Armor, and you can evolve it into a water type. It can become a water fighting type, and this alone would give her a massive advantage because she'll have a fighting type, and because Aegislash is a steel type, its fighting type would absolutely help. But I think Urshifu was a bit unfair. So I think having a legendary Pokemon on her team would be a bit OP. So that is why I left this as an option. That's why I left these as options. But yeah, I think her having a legendary would be a bit too OP. I mean, if I really wanted to be cheap, I could have just had her. I could have just say that she could have gone to the Crown Tundra, done the Dynamax adventures, and got herself a damn Suicune, because that's literally the first thing you get in the Dynamax adventures. She could have literally gone there, caught herself a Suicune, and then she'd be perfectly fine. But even then, it's still a bit of a stretch. But yeah, I'm not going to include legendaries because that would be kind of cheap. Master even said that Leon could not master Kubfu, and it could not evolve because either he couldn't figure out how to do it, or he just could never master it. So yeah, basically it would be a huge advantage if anyone else could actually get that thing, which is kind of funny if you think about it. You could technically have an Urshifu really early on in your playthrough if you really wanted to, if you felt like it, that is. But yeah, that's not what I'm here to talk about. But let's get back on track. So here are the other issues why I think Nessa's battle might go well or might go horribly. The level differences. The level differences between her Pokemon and his Pokemon is a big major concern. Her Pokemon are 51 from 52 to 53, while Leon's Pokemon are from 62, 63, 64, 65. So she is like 10 levels lower than Leon. So she's going to have to do some serious grinding. She's going to have to do some serious grinding if she has any hope of winning. If she has any hope of winning, then she's going to have to seriously, and I mean seriously, do some training if she's going to have to win with the 6 Pokemon that we're going to be giving her. But yeah, personally, I could see this battle going well, but maybe she could fall short. There's 2 outcomes to this. She could either find a way to win against the team of 6 that I basically chose, which are Aegislash, Dragapult, Haxorus, Mr. Rhyme, Rillaboom, and Charizard. Those are the 6 Pokemon I chose that she'd be up against. If she found a way to win, which in theory she can, or she would just flat out lose, which is also possible. But I could see her maybe putting up a fight, but coming up short. But if she did win, what would happen? If she did win, what would happen? What would happen if she actually did win? I think she'd be given Leon's cape, because we never see Leon with a cape ever again after you beat him. After you beat Leon, you never see him with his cape again, so I'm guessing it's a Champions exclusive thing that they have. So she would probably be given the Champion's cape, which her with a cape would be kind of funny. And also, she'd probably have to relinquish her rights to the gym. That would mean she'd have to surrender her rights to the whole breed gym. But also, I don't know if she's even allowed to keep the role. I'm not even sure if she's allowed to be a gym leader and a champion. But I think for the sake of it, because when I looked it up, it said that that if a gym leader became a champion, the gym leader would have to relinquish their rights as the gym leader. So if Nessa beat Leon, she would have to give up her rights to the whole breed gym, which is also possible. Leon, I could possibly see him becoming the eventual chairman of the entire Pokemon League in Galar, because Chairman Rose causes issues. Because Chairman Rose causes a whole bunch of issues and, nearly gets the whole world destroyed because of the Darkest Day, I could see Leon just eventually taking up that role. So overall, it's very difficult. I think Nessa could, in theory, win, but at the same time, she might not. It really depends on the situation, and it also depends on her training, and it also depends on the Pokemon she chooses and uses against Leon, and also if she decides to change up her moveset slightly, just to try and counteract all of Leon's Pokemon. And Leon would do the same to her, try to counteract her Pokemon, and all that other stuff. So overall, it's tough. It's a tough one. What do you guys think? With the team I chose against Leon, the team I chose for Leon, and the team I gave Nessa, do you guys think she could win? Let me know down below. Thank you all for watching. If you guys did enjoy this analysis video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.